You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean Paul Leek.
And together we are
Rope Break.
How's every single one of you, family? Ready to talk about the last pay-per-view of the Big Four, Survivor Series 2020, Jean Paul. Raw against SmackDown, who has the brand dominance? And I think that nobody even really cared because they didn't kind of had any track. Who win, Raw and SmackDown, nobody really cared because everything was minimized because of the Undertaker final failure. How are you doing, Jean Paul?
Good. I mean, this pay-per-view yesterday, where we did previews and predictions, were you excited? I was like, yeah, they should deliver. This should be pretty good. No. I mean, we had two good matches, the two, champions matches, the men and the women, the top champions. Those matches were good. Roman and Drew delivered. Asuka and Sasha delivered as well. But then, even the farewell to the Undertaker was extremely just weird how they did it, and I don't know, it wasn't good. It was boring. It was boring, to be honest.
Yeah. It took longer, I want to say for the 5 hours, let's say, Jean Paul, 6 to kind of 11, 4.5 hours, 2 hours with no entrances. In all the matches. So next time, kind of WWE minimize the amount of entrances because that's when you all fall asleep. The Undertaker final failure. Yes, cool and everything, but we've seen a lot of people on social media, Jean Paul, are saying, how many farewells is he gonna have? The legacy is right there. We all love the Undertaker. It's fine, but like you said, it should have been done in a different way. A lot of people are asking why there were things done in a certain way. We're gonna be talking of everything, all of that, little by little. But so let's start, Jean Paul, from the beginning because we have a lot to talk about, and let's talk about with the pre-show, they always start with that, and it was supposed to be just another battle royal between Raw and SmackDown, and a lot of guys that were part of this should have been in these actual teams because a lot of guys were really left out that had a lot to offer. We saw Rey Mysterio, we saw The Miz, we saw John Morrison, Dolph Ziggler, we saw Kalisto, so Dominic, so Nakamura, example, Nakamura. I'm why are these guys jobbed out? I just didn't understand that at all.
Yeah, and it's because they don't care. Like we said, this pay-per-view, besides the two matches that I had mentioned, and mostly just the match between Drew and Roman, nothing on this show felt serious because they don't care. And that was evident to, I don't even want to say but the Undertaker thing was so special, so they had all their eggs in that basket. Because no, the Undertaker thing, I mean, okay, it felt like it was maybe special, but it wasn't. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything good. It was boring. We'll get to it when we get to it. But yeah, this battle royal did nothing for me. I would have rather just seen a one-on-one match. Give me Ali versus Ricochet or something like that. But
a little better. Yes, I want to agree with you because like I said, all these guys. For example, we see the final four of this battle royal. It was Jeff Hardy. It was Chad Gable. It was The Miz and Dominic. So these four guys could easily be in part of the SmackDown and Raw teams, like we've been saying before. Why? Because they're more main roster caliber, and I feel that the legitimacy of that match itself that we're going to talk about in a little bit, because that was the match that opened the show, it would have been a lot better. Because you said, the key word in this pay-per-view is just the seriousness of it. There was no seriousness whatsoever, unless for the the single championship matches, the women's and the men's. That was the only thing that I felt that there was really, they wanted to deliver. They wanted to give us a good show. But this, like I said, in the final four, these four guys, I mean, okay. And then we got to see actually Jeff Hardy was eliminated first. And then it was The Miz and Dominic. This was kind of okay. I don't know how you feel about Dominic when he hits the 619. Because I really don't like it, how he does it.
No, I think it only works for people. Look how Dominic's almost probably 6 foot tall. Who hits a good one? Rey Mysterio, obviously. Io Shirai. What's, in common with both of them? They're short.
Yeah.
It's a move that works better for somebody who's short than somebody who's long, or tall. So, yeah. I mean, I don't like when he hits it. And, Dominic, of course, we thought he was going to win. It's it's awesome. Okay, he gets this meaningless win. This would do nothing for his career, nothing for him. Instead, The Miz, a shit heel, I was thrown out, but not over the top rope. He comes in, flips over Dominic, and wins. And again, this does nothing for The Miz. Either. This does nothing for anybody. This was a useless battle royal. The only thing that you and I both liked from it was maybe the 30-second interaction in the beginning between Rey Mysterio and Kalisto.
That they see exactly. So, little things that like they could actually use that to make them the product
But
better.
are we gonna see that feud?
No,
No, no,
no,
no,
no.
no.
And the only reason that they gave this win to the Miz, Jean Paul, I think, is because the Miz today is celebrating also the 10th anniversary of when he cashed in the Money in the Bank. So there was a
That
lot of
and because people whacked it like the Miz and Mrs. People love that show, so they're like, oh yeah, Money in the Bank, US Mr. USA, okay, Miz and Mrs. They keep giving him stuff like he's their version of Cody.
Yes, legit Jean Paul, 2 kids, legit, yeah. So it was like he gets the win. Like there was a lot of rumors. Remember, Jean Paul, we talked about this in previous predictions that he might have cashed in while the match with like Drew and Roman was taking place. No, that didn't happen. They kept the match semi clean, so to say. So this was like the beginning of the pre-show. Then we got to see Kevin Owens and King Corbin like talking about, hey man, like neither like our team is completely like separated. Like we're all like doing our own thing. Like somebody has to lead. So King Corbin is saying, hey, if you follow my lead, it will be legit. We will win. So Kevin Owens pretty much just says no. Right, Jean Paul? Like a meaningless promo because we said like and you mentioned this in previous predictions. This team is like one of the weakest teams in the history of SmackDown ever because there was no star power and nobody really cared. So I was just already thinking.
No, and if you're asking me, like one of the two top stars we'll get into did absolutely nothing in this match. So
Yes, absolutely. You're right. So like this starts the show. Best of the best, Jean Paul. Even like the show, even the title is a little misleading. I think I just don't find anything that like I didn't see the best of the best. And one more time, I need to like keep saying like the exclusion of NXT made this a lot worse because like you gave me an idea of what Survivor Series it was going to be on 2019, and I kept trying to think that like that's how they will have it this year. But no, we went back to the old ways and the fact that it wasn't presented even as like 2019 made it a little worse for me. So let's talk about Jean Paul first match, and that's like the men's Team Raw versus like SmackDown. I know that you're happy about the outcome, and rightfully so because you said it, and even Glenn. We want to say hi to Glenn Davidson, wrestling all in all day and all that. So you guys said this. This is like the Raw side is really stacked up. There's no way that SmackDown is going to win it, and you guys, both of you, were absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. Nobody on Team Raw even got pinned, and that's because, okay, you said the star power on Team Raw dwarfed that on SmackDown, and, not included in this picture is Otis, and it's like, okay, yeah, Otis legit, but the only two, like, really legit top guys were Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. And to skip ahead, when Rollins gets tagged in this thing, because he was the first one eliminated, he gets right on his knees, sticks his arms out, he looks at Sheamus, and he's like, do what you must for the cause, or whatever he says.
Sheamus looks at him, good, yes.
And then he's like, what the hell, bro, kick, 1, 2, 3. So you can tell his loss to Murphy, he's just completely done. He's just, and this is all Becky Lynch is going to pop any day soon now, so he wants to be home with her. That's fine. But you could have easily had it that, the whole Mysterio family and Buddy Murphy beat the shit out of him 2 weeks ago or a week ago, last Friday, whenever that match was, because I can't remember when anything is. We watched too much. But no, this like you could have just written him off TV that way. This was a wasted spot. It looked awkward. It was stupid. You could have put Big E or Nakamura or somebody who's legit in this thing and somebody actually had a good
like
match.
Benefit, like you said, yeah. So this is the spot that you mentioned. Like do this for the greater good and done.
Yeah, there was no point. There was no point to this because then both teams huddle and Raw's like, yeah, we're legit, and then SmackDown's like, fuck, what are we gonna do? Like, we suck. And then it was just they all started dropping like flies. I mean, Otis looked good though. I will say Otis looked good. He was going toe to toe with Keith Lee, and I mean Corbin's okay. Like AJ's fantastic. Like I even texted you. I'm like, he's like right like Sean. Just the way he can like sell for everybody. He works so smooth with everybody.
He eliminated also Kevin Owens, so that was good.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Owens was started like with like the stunners to everybody, so I kind of like thinking, okay, they're gonna have it like competitive, and that's the thing that I told you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's supposed to
be he stunned everybody, and then AJ hit him with a forearm.
Good. Give some eliminations to Raw, give some eliminations to SmackDown. No, they kept going with Raw, and I mean, I understand your logic because it's like SmackDown was really weak. Yeah, but come on, not even. But AJ looked good. Like you said. And then we also like Matt Riddle really decent. I said the only kind of like he's all for Otis a little bit, and that's fine because Otis, like you will change his gimmick a little bit, like you said, Jean Paul. He's a good wrestler, but he needs to be presented more serious. So maybe that's what they're trying to do. That's the intention. So hopefully that's what happens. But tell me a little bit about this. Like for example, Matt Riddle look good, eliminates Baron Corbin or King Corbin. That's fine. We've seen that rivalry way too much. And then, like you said, we see the stare downs between Braun Strowman and Otis. That was good too, because Otis didn't look like an idiot when he did that. So tell me a little bit about
Yeah,
that.
I mean Otis, he hit the caterpillar and everything, and then he went up for the Vader bomb that he does, and then running power slam and done, and then you were like, oh, here we go, Jay's gonna eliminate all five, and I was like, Taker has a better chance of pinning Roman after the match tonight than Jay has of eliminating all five, and I was correct because Jay didn't, he just had unlimited signature, so he was just super kicking everybody like 30 times. I was like, oh, I'm glad he only has one move in his arsenal.
Yeah, that was Jon Paul and he's like, oh, so I only know how to do super kick.
And I mean, he fought back, but what did it matter? It didn't mean anything, And Keith Lee gets it was Keith Lee, right? Who got the pin?
It was Keith Lee. Yeah, because
Keith Lee.
He was gonna go for the splash. He was gonna go for the Samoan splash or like the J splash, however they call it. But Keith Lee does a wonderful job of catching him, and then he turns them around. He delivers the Spirit Bomb, like I have in this picture. 1, 2, 3. And then they all get eliminated.
There's Lucius. Look at him with his new theme song.
Smelling ass. That's legit,
He's crying because his new theme song is still not that, glorious.
It will never be like Baz in his glory. Absolutely right. Like, see, like again, like I mean, Kid Lee at least he got the last elimination. That's good. It was not a contested match, so we're not gonna lie to the Roderick family. No, it wasn't. Like again, I'm still upset because you not presented both shows equally. It looks bad. I mean, I understand what Jean Paul is saying, but it's like, no, you need to give the other team also like some kind of competitiveness.
Yeah, we liked last year's Survivor Series match a hell of a lot more, and Roman Reigns was the sole survivor, I think. Or it was just Roman. Yeah,
it was the last one. Yes.
Yeah,
everybody was had a good showing. Here in SmackDown, that got an awful showing. So what are the message you're trying to send to your guys? You guys suck.
Yeah.
You guys can even eliminate one guy. This is actually, and see, like you said, Matt Riddle at least made it like this a little better because Matt Riddle is the one that gets the whole kind of like who keeps the group together and he's like, oh guys, legit, let's do it, it's great, come on, and then they get this great picture,
look at him. I love Riddle, like just the pose he does, like
See, that's what made it, at least for me, like these guys like have like that important. Yeah, take a sip of the water.
We need to.
It's legit. We will need to because we have a lot to talk about. So at least, this started out, I'm like, well, let's move on. So, Jean Paul, let's move on to like the tag team championship match. This was also another one that like I was really not invested in this because again, I'm not a fan of neither one of the teams. New Day and the Street Profits. I mean, the match was pretty decent. I will not lie. Yeah, it was good because both teams are good. I mean, the Street Profits, I think. If you see it like from an outsider point of view, I think the New Day are a lot better wrestlers. But Montez Ford is like at the same level, but not Angelo. But Angelo kind of surprised me a little bit. He did a few new moves and everything. So I kind of like that. The corkscrew, like when he was like turning around and he did like kind of like splashes on that. That was decent. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. I mean, the match is good. I said in a previous prediction, there's no way that this match can't be good because just all four of these guys are so talented. But just the lack of emotional like connection to the story because there wasn't any. You look at the great story with the main event match and even the story with Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley were calling each other out every week. These guys were kind of like, oh yeah, we're buddies. We're legit every single week until Big E was like, oh, you guys are just New Day knockoffs. You're New Day light. And then they kind of took offense to it. And then you thought, okay, now maybe there's going to be some heat. And then they came out and they're still like, what's up, fam? Oh, we love you, New Day. So they were still up each other's ass. So that just killed the whole mood for the match.
And they came out like this. For example, like feed like promoting like the new gear. What is the game?
Gears of War.
Yeah, they're gonna be like playable characters, so that's why they were like just like this, dressed up, and even had a video package on how like you can get the guys. So like but a lot of things are just done to promote things, like
But the match, the match itself, though, I mean, it was good. I liked it. But the thing is, just went through the normal, like storytelling and booking that New Day and mostly the Street Profits, since they won this thing, the Street Profits matches do. It's just Montez Ford is in there for a majority of it, gets his ass beat. He makes the hot tag to Dawkins. Dawkins does the comeback, tags in Ford. He hits the from the heavens, the splash, and then I mean that wasn't the finish, but that's like at least they did that, and then they went a little bit further. I like how what even was like the combination that they finished it? No, not like a.
No, they did like a superplex. It was like
almost like a I was gonna say because they broke up the from the heavens splash.
Yeah, because right then, okay, they kicked out. Yeah.
It took them too long to cover it. Yeah.
So he kicked out because the match went like both ways. Like I mean, the only thing Jean Paul see, like they're saying that they're gonna give Big E this big push. Big E was just right there with the New. They didn't even do any interference. Didn't even play any factor right there.
Well, they said he went to the back. They're like he came out and it was like he introduced him, but then he wanted this thing to be like legit and not like be tainted. So he went to the back. Yeah.
But even like they did the midnight hour. They did like that. Like that's a move actually that Big E and Xavier Woods does, but Kofi did that also. Like kind of like to remember that they're still a trio. They're still together. I mean, like you said, like Dawkins did a pretty nice job. Montez Ford looks normal because like he got us used to like being like a great wrestler, so that's fine. I really like you said, like he kicked out of like the splash, so that was good. Even the New Day did another combination, so that was also great. Remember when Montez Ford did Trouble on Paradise?
That was good. Yeah,
that was good. Yes, but like you said, they did like mega.
I think that's actually what took Kofi out of the match because they ended up pinning Xavier.
Yeah, they pinned Xavier. Because like I said, like it was a pretty decent match, and they did, like I said, it was a big superplex because it was like Dawkins had like Montez Ford on his arms and then on his shoulders, and that's when they did the superplex, and pretty much that's how they got the pin, and right there, passing of the torch. Do you consider this passing of the torch, Jean Paul? Because
I get the win. Yeah, I think so. I think this is just obviously the New Days, they're still the Raw Tag Team Champs. They're still going to be featured, but I think this was like, yeah, okay, you're like the top team, which if you look at all the teams in WWE, I wouldn't say the Street Profits are the top team, but, hey, it is what it is, so.
Show of respect, right, Jean Paul? Yeah. Right there, like your SmackDown Tag Team Champions are now like the most dominant team in the WWE. Do we agree with this? At least, I'm on talk in first person. I don't like this. I mean, there's much better teams that should have more opportunities. But this team, like you said, they're featuring every single commercial. You said this in the preview. Like every single commercial, every little thing that they can do, they do it. So in your eyes, I know that you're going to agree with me and say, no, they're not the best team, but they're their most popular team. So that's why they do it. But, New Day, I mean, they need to lose those championships. Give it to whoever, Jean Paul. I don't care who you give it to. Give it to the North. Give it to Jurassic Express. Bring anybody, but not these guys. Let's move on, Jean Paul, to the next match. And that is like a match that also was god-awful because the outcome was like something that you predicted, something that I was actually trying not to see, but everybody else saw it. And I'm really pissed off about it. It's like Bobby Lashley against Sami Zayn. This match, I mean, Bobby completely dominated Sami Zayn. Dominated.
Yeah, this was not good. I mean, okay, Sami Zayn comes out first, legit, and then he starts yelling at the announcers in French and everything, and they're putting Sami Zayn over, and then Lashley comes out, and he's with the rest of the Hurt Business, and they're all laughing, they're all like, haha, like look at this clown, like it's bullshit. And then, they were out there the whole match, and Sami Zayn kept trying to egg them on so they'd hit him, so Lashley would get DQ'd. And I thought something was going to happen, that Sami Zayn would win in some bullshit kind of way. And then, I'm like, okay, like this is how they're playing it up. It's going to be good. But, no, it wasn't. Like you said, Lashley dominated mostly pretty much the whole match. Sami Zayn got a little bit of offense in. Like he tried to go for the haluva kick, but, Lashley dodged that. And it was like, okay. It's a shame that that's how you treat, which is not in their eyes, but what, the second most important championship in your company and that champion, it's a shame how you treat him, but.
Pretty little offense, and, it's annoying to see that, like, how much Sami Zayn is wasted, because, like, his character has so much more, you can do so much with his character than what you can do with Bobby Lashley. The opportunities and the stuff that you can say, even in the pre-shows, remember Sammy came out and he was talking about, I'm the champion of every single continent, like Bobby Lashley is just the champion of America, I represent everybody, like the legitimacy of this title. No, you get it, like you let Her Business be there for the whole match. In the end, pretty much Bobby Lashley did, like you said, the Hurt Lock. That's how they call it right now, right?
Yeah, and it was, when he put the Hurt Lock on him, I'm like, okay, Sammy's gonna he's gonna somehow like fight out of this. Maybe he's gonna run, to the corner and like run up, the turnbuckle and like flip over Bobby Lashley, get out of it. The match will continue a little bit, and then and Lashley will. I knew Lashley was gonna win, but I thought Sami Zayn wouldn't have just immediately got put in the Hurt Lock and then immediately tap out, but that's what we got, and and it sucks for Sami Zayn, but the thing is, every time I see the IC belt, the only time I remember it being legit was when Rollins had it, like 2018, 2019, whatever, 2018. That was the last time that belt was legit.
Oh especially 2018 when like he opened up WrestleMania and he did remember the triple threat with the Miz, Finn Balor, like all of that, and he got the rematch with the Miz, and actually that was one of the Miz's like best matches. That was Backlash 2018. There you go. Thank you, Jean-Paul. We're still good. We know what we talk about. This picture, Jean-Paul. Everybody put like right there. They put like where MVP is, Jean-Paul. They put like the logo from Brazers.
I was gonna say, well, that's the one where like that little white girl's on the sofa. That's what this looks like.
They're gonna do the gangbang, so they were gonna do that, and the poor Sami.
Well, see, if they would let what's his name, Titus O'Neil in the group, they'd have all 5.
Oh yeah, and it would have been that would have been the Hurt business because at the end. That, and then you get to see this picture because they're all dominated. Poor Sami Zayn, Jean-Paul, absolutely bad. That was just
So like you got to think. We're excited for Survivor Series yesterday. We're looking forward to it, and then this is the first 3 matches of the show.
Yeah,
it's like okay, like so.
Not really like and like one more time. We gotta just mention this was not treated seriously. You didn't give the SmackDown a single chance. You didn't make it look competitive. If both brands are seen equally, they should have like a legit.
This suffered from the same thing that the Street Profits and the New Day suffered from, where both in that match, both of them were baby faces. In this match, both of them were heels.
Yes,
because you couldn't have. It's like Lashley and the Hurt Business are baby faces. But Sami Zayn's a heel, and maybe he uses brass knuckles, and the ref doesn't see it. And if the Hurt Business, grabs him, then Lashley will lose. So they're like, shit, we can't do anything, but we know he cheated. And then, okay, Lashley has to fight back, and now he's at a disadvantage. Like kind of like when Daniel Bryan kicked, I think he kicked Lesnar. No, when he kicked Lesnar in the nuts at Survivor Series.
2 3 years ago.
So like that's how you have to do it, but they didn't do it. They thought, we'll just job out Sami Zayn. He's a loser. So.
He's used to lose. Now let's do it. Nobody's gonna care, and then
exactly.
Perfect opportunity to actually give Sami Zayn something like another legit win, because then you can benefit that. You can elevate. That's the word that we've been hearing all these Undertaker like promos and documentaries and all the special programs and all that. Elevate. You're not elevating anybody. The only thing that elevated was those 4 things on the Brazers thing, and then we got to see what happened after that with when they were done with Sami Zayn. There you go, right there. That's what happened. So Jean-Paul, let's go very quick to this. Jey Uso goes to Roman, so even the hands on his pocket. You lost. You're like a piece of garbage, and it's like when you lose, it's because people don't respect you, and when they don't respect you, they don't respect me, and you're not even worth of like eating at the table. And since I'm the head of the table, just go the fuck off. Get your brother and leave. I'm not in the mood to like deal with losers right now. I mean, Roman keeps playing his heel. Yeah, whatever. I mean, like you said, it's just this is not interesting for me. Unless again, I don't have any.
Yeah, anything. Roman is good, but then as Roman walks away, it's like okay, like legit. And then Heyman has to like with his fat 3 chins looks at Jay and is like and like closes the door, and I'm like, that's what kills it for me.
Yes,
Heyman he doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, he doesn't kind of need. We've been saying, what's the role right there? I'm still wondering what's the role that he's playing. Nobody really cares, and again, I'm not invested into this. And knowing what happened after the match with McIntyre and everything is it made it worse for me. But Jean-Paul, let's move on with the show. Thank you, family, for being with us. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell. There you go, Jean-Paul. This is the first good match of the whole evening. Asuka against Sasha Banks. A lot of times we said throughout the weeks. Prior to this pay-per-view, we said we've seen this throughout the summer. What else can they give us? Is this going to benefit Sasha? Is this going to elevate Asuka? Jean-Paul, myself, and Glenn Davidson also. We all hey, give Asuka something legit. No, they have to go the other route every single time in WWE Jean-Paul X. So at least the match was good. but you said to me, fucking bullshit ending. So tell me.
Yeah, I like the match. I think this was probably the best match that they've had. At least I thought it was better than the ones we've seen over the summer. This was really good. I like, just even all the spots. Sasha looked, dominant in this, but Asuka's looked good. I like when they were on the outside and Sasha was going for the suplex, but then she got set up on the barricade. Then she went for the Meteora, but Asuka hit the code breaker. That was a legit spot and just really hard hitting and just really good. Like when you see Asuka and she does like the easy peasy and the dancing and the screaming, you're like, who is it? Like she's like a joke. Like what? But then when the bell rings and you see her wrestle, you're like, oh, like she's fucking badass. For
example, you love this, right?
There you go. Yeah. The whole match was good. And the one thing when there was that, the whole, let's skip to the end when it was, let's trading up the roll up attempts and the different, like small packages and everything. Normally that's not the ending of a spot. It's usually like pin attempt, pin attempt, pin attempt. Okay, big move, and done. But instead it was, they went for kicks and then Sasha grabbed Asuka and she got the roll up 1, 2, 3. And that wasn't my winner because, Sasha just had this big feud with Bayley. She won that. She's already in a program with Carmella. We didn't see Carmella, so this match was 100% clean, so that was legit. But, we didn't see Carmella, and it's like, that's fine, but Sasha already has a future. There's literally no plans, no nothing for Asuka. She's not like she had an opponent lined up. There wasn't anything, but the one thing to benefit Sasha is she just had that huge win over Bayley and now a win over Asuka. So they're really cementing Sasha.
Yes,
so.
yeah. No, and then see the one thing I want to mention, this Jean Paul, is like how good the chemistry of these two women have.
Oh yeah,
like, the spots are like clean. Are really nice executed, and also like the speed of every single spot. You know how they move? Like they move like in certain sync. That like everything just flows really well. Sasha understand when Asuka just transitions, and same thing for Asuka. Even like at some point when she was trying to do like the backstabber, when she put like the bank statement on, and even in one of those attempts, Asuka started like kind of like crying, like and then nobody.
Oh yeah, and that's why I think Asuka has had pretty much the best career out of any NXT call-up, I would say. Besides maybe like Roman and Seth and everything, but I would say Asuka's because just, I don't want to go on a list like, oh yeah, Charlotte's better, whatever, but like Asuka, they treat her legit because look at all the good matches she can have with everybody. Bayley, Sasha, Becky, Charlotte, Ronda, like anybody. She can have legit matches with all these women.
Yes, yeah, and Sasha, like you said, this is Miss mostly done. See, we get to see that picture says it all right there, family. Sasha, they are elevating her to kind of like maybe like the level that Bayley was, because Bayley pretty much went through the whole roster. So at the expense of Asuka, but Asuka doesn't look bad. Why? Because like you said, the win was over like exchanging pins. So really not like, hey, that can happen, and that's how like they do nowadays to kind of like make both people involved in the match look dominant and great. So this one, hey, Sasha was like more, let's say, had more leverage in one of the pin attempts. That's all there was. And like you said, no Carmella. What is next for Asuka? That's the big question, because Monday Night Raw doesn't even have like a number one contender that we can actually get behind, unless they finally go with Shayna Baszler, Shampoo. At least for me, because like you said, Carmella is going to be with Sasha Banks in the SmackDown side of things.
Yeah, I don't know, and you could have did Lana versus Asuka, because Lana was, spoiler alert, the sole survivor, like we said, but we just saw that feud, or that, I should say, match, not a feud, a couple weeks ago, so I don't think they're going to do it again, but they probably think we already forgot about it. So
yeah, but they might, something that I want to forget, Jean Paul, is this. Gobbledygooker, he was like the 24/7 champion for like 3 seconds. Of course, they always have to do a title switch.
Was it Hector Guerrero, you think?
I hope it wasn't. No, he moved too fast to be an Hector Guerrero. But
okay.
At least that's the original one. So thank you, Jean Paul, for like the history lesson. Legit, that was the original one, and that was the same year when the Undertaker debuted. So 30 years of the Gobbledygooker. And of course, R-Truth becomes like 45th. That's what it was. Champion, 24/7 champion. What is that championship even exist? I just don't understand. Nobody really cares. It's just a joke. It's a mockery of the business that you're actually trying to sell me. So you are also mocking your own business. So good job on WWE's effort. Like even Akira Tozawa won the championship, I think, for 1 second, and then R-Truth won it back. Jean Paul, is it worth mentioning any of this? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. So let's go to like this. This was also semi-decent, right, Jean Paul? Out of like the men's and the women's, who did you like most? For me, I will say the women's a little bit, just because at least I saw more wrestling and a little bit more competitive than the men's. At least for me. You tell me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. To me, they're both even. I guess I like the men's more just because with this match, I wanted to see it be, more even, and it was, but like it didn't make sense the way they did it at all. Like numbers wise, it was even, but like who those numbers were wasn't. And I mean, with the Raw team, it was just I knew SmackDown was a bullshit team, and as soon as Rollins did what he did, I knew it was going to go downhill fast. But with this, the match, it started out pretty good. We were like, okay, this is going to be legit. This is going to be, good. There was some back and forth.
Lots of cake, Paul.
Yeah. Oh, well, we said that before. You got to bring your appetite with this match because they're serving plenty of cake.
Yeah,
and then there was a spot where who did Bayley superplex? Who did she have?
But she did a superplex. I believe it was Lacey Evans.
It was Lacey Evans or somebody. A superplex, and so everybody got taken out. Everybody.
No. The superplex was a Peyton Royce.
Peyton Royce, yeah, and it was like everybody's taken out, and it's like okay, Peyton Royce, you should think she's done, but she goes back in the ring, and then that's who pins Bayley. Yeah. Bayley tried to pin her, and then she kicked out, right there, and then she hit the deja vu, and it's like okay, so the most legit woman. On this, at least on Team SmackDown, I would say besides Bianca, but Bianca's still like sort of new to the main roster, so like Bayley, the most legit on the team, and done.
Yeah, like right there. And then the place that you're saying, for the people like like Lana was the sole survivor because Nia and Shayna told her not to move, not to do anything. So that's another like we've been saying, not taken seriously. It's just mockery of a match. And, the other women have to do all the work. It's just stupid. Glenn said it. Jean Paul mentioned it. Jean Paul in his reviews has been saying, look, she's going to be the sole survivor. And Jean Paul, and Glenn, Jean Paul is always the best booker, so he knows what he's saying, and he understands Vince McMahon's mentality. A lot of, something that a lot of people don't really understand or don't really see. But, as you said, first elimination right here, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, and then with this... I thought, okay, maybe not all evidence right here, but are they going to maybe have Peyton Royce kind of look legit? Maybe they're going to start pushing her. Maybe that's going to be, who goes against Asuka. No, I don't think so because Natalya came in, sharpshooter, and done. So Peyton Royce is. What was the point of pinning the the former over a year SmackDown women's champ?
Yep, the women's.
Yeah. What was the point of pinning her if Peyton Royce is just going to tap out to the sharpshooter 2 minutes later? So
and then
I didn't get that. And to me, this is when the whole thing just started to go downhill quick.
Oh yeah, well, Sean Spears probably sees this picture every single day, so that's pretty legit for Sean. And right there, Lacey Evans is the one that eliminates Natalya with the women's right. So okay, this was a little, Natalya had you said it is gonna have a decent showing, but it's gonna eliminate somebody and done. I like how Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan interacted, both of them kind of as a team.
No, I want them to be the WWE women's tag champs, but being on SmackDown, I don't know how they're gonna feud for those belts, but to me they're the most legit team since the Boss and Hug connection aren't anymore. So I agree with you. I like their interaction in this as well, and I like the spot.
They got a good showing. They tried to get Nia a lot.
I like the spot where Ruby Riott would have actually had Shayna Baszler pinned.
Yes.
When she had the Kirifuda clutch where she flipped over and, she had the shoulders down. But see, with that, though, I think it's, I'm going to just go on the side of Shayna knew that the ref's back was turned. So she's like, let me just choke her out. It doesn't matter anyway.
Yes, and like I said, good showing. Again, Ruby Riott has so much potential, but completely lost. From the injury, comes back. Everybody's like, okay, it's the big moment for her. She is going to have good feud. She's going to go back to being the woman that she was before the injury. But no. So far, she hasn't been able to get any of that edge, any of that momentum. But I think that now, at least she looked decent. And like you said, if it wasn't for the referee, maybe she would have eliminated Shayna Baszler. But like you said, also, Jean Paul, she was pretty much passed out to the Kirifuda clutch. I mean, they still portray Shayna decent. Wouldn't you agree? At least they not as good as she should have, but I mean decent.
Oh, and yeah, Shayna always looks good.
And then Liv Morgan eliminated Lacey Evans and eliminated also I think she eliminated also Shayna. Oh no, well that was Bianca. What do you think about Bianca whole performance? I think
Bianca looked good, but it was on such like a struggling effort. We didn't really see Bayley go too much. Like I said in the beginning, it was like okay, everybody's kind of in there doing their thing, but like Bayley was out there quick, and then Natalya looked okay, but then she was eliminated, and then it was just Raw just was really dominating then, and I mean Bianca looked good, but it was in a struggling effort. So I think her performance would have stood out more if she would have been the winner of this thing.
Yeah, because like after as you guys can see, like Liv Morgan gets eliminated by Nia Jax. I think she did like the Samoan drop and done. I mean, Liv, like I said, looked legit. She didn't do the Oblivion, so good because that was supposed to be my finisher. Remember, Jean Paul? Mm-hmm. So she took that name. But anyway, so like Bianca starts like getting she's pretty much by herself, and she eliminates both Shayna and Nia. But Shayna kept applying the Kyofura clutch, and then she got disqualified, so not really eliminated. And then with Nia, both of them didn't respond to didn't make it to the ring on time for the 10 count. So that's what pretty much how the match ended. So another mockery, like you said, bullshit finish.
And Lana standing there on the ring. She's like dash because she was crowned the sole survivor, like we said, and I mean it's like you do these matches and you already have people out there who go, why do the women have to have this match? Like a women's Survivor Series match is so stupid. And if you want to prove those people wrong, you put on a legit match. And instead, this is what we got. So you're just proving all your critics right.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And we get to see this. So now they're going to just bask on that glory. And it's not even Kid Lee. And there's just going to be they're going to try to portray Lana based on this. They're going to try to use that to
Yep, she's probably going to go talk to the best man.
Yes, so and Miro and all of that, exactly. So I just, this didn't make any sense. This is by far the worst Survivor Series that the women have ever had. Because remember, lately, remember the one that Asuka was the sole survivor. At least that elevates Asuka. Like, she looked good. Mm-hmm. Asuka has a bright future. Last year, it was decent. NXT won the match. All these girls, like Toni Storm, like Tegan Knox, Io Shirai, all of them, Bianca, Rhea. All of that. There's great future. And now this. How do you go from that to this?
Yeah, they don't
their mouth.
They don't care. They don't then see, okay, listen, you don't have to sell the pay-per-views, if you buy the network or you don't, some people don't, or you go and watch wrestling or however you watch your pay-per-views, let's say. It's $10 a month maximum. It's not like back in the day when you paid $60 a month or $60 a pay-per-view, and if that wasn't good, you weren't going to pay $60 for the next one. Yes. So WWE had to make them. Imagine if we paid $60 for this, we wouldn't pay $60 again.
Oh, never. Oh,
No. So WWE knows we don't have to put on a good show because nobody's paying top dollar for it. They're paying $10 a month. That's a fucking sandwich and a drink at Subway.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They're
and baby. Yeah.
So
with the tax and everything. Yeah, absolutely. So are they going to make it better for this one?
No. We can already tell you no.
Table, ladders, and chairs. That's going to close the year for WWE. One more time, it's going to be on December 20th, 4 years before, Christmas Eve and all of that. Hopefully, it's a little better because this one actually was not good at all. A Survivor Series that is probably one of the worst that we ever seen. I think that a lot of things were just left out, just put together on the fly. A lot of things in WWE, and I guess we have to understand there's a pandemic, there's all those things. Maybe they have different ideas, and yes, but at least let me know that you're trying. Show me that you're. But
you could have had all the same matches, the same people, and even the same winners of every single match. But you could have done them in a way better way. Team Raw could have won, but it could have been a very close match. It could have came down to Shayna and Bianca, not Lana, and then Bobby Lashley could have won. But how we said before, have Sami Zayn look legit. Maybe he's cheating. Maybe he's dominating for a portion of the match.
A little bit Thunder Bomb, all of that. Like you said, maybe closing, oh my God, exactly. How they did again. I'm going to keep mentioning last year because last year I think everybody was at least happy all the way to the triple threat. Remember, because we gotta let everybody know it's been a year that we've been doing this. Jean Paul and myself. So happy anniversary, Jean Paul, because Robert has been doing this. You can guys check out the review from 2019. It was really good. But see, the triple threat was actually the worst match, but everything else was good. And for that to take me to this is like I see like actually the step in going backwards. I see the legitimacy, the quality of the product going backwards, at least in this particular pay-per-view per se, Jean Paul. So like you said, hopefully TLC is a little better, a lot more watchable. Let's go to like the match that actually was the best match of the night, and we said that it was going to be the best match of the night. You said that in the Mindland Arbor review. We said this on SmackDown. Roman Reigns against Drew McIntyre. At least these two guys gave us a really great match. I don't know why Paul Heyman is needed in the picture, but at least, for I want to say 30 minutes? No, 25 minutes of a good show, but bullshit ending one more time. The endings were absolutely terrible in every single match. Let's talk to me.
Yeah. When this started, it was long. It was just, and what was that where you had Roman came down to the ring, and then Mike Rome or whatever the announcer, he introduces, he's like, oh, this contest, blah blah blah, and Drew didn't even come out yet. Then Drew, I'm like, what is the whole? This was just so weird. It was just
put together on the fly.
It took them like 10, 15 minutes to do like the whole, here's the video package, here's the entrances, and then they stare each other down, the bell rings. Of course they have to do the big fight, like make it like a movie where they stare each other down and they're just kind of walking around and just like, it's like, come on, you had so much hate, you had so much, pent up energy, especially on Drew's side before. You could tell he wanted to kick Roman's ass at that contract signing. It should have been like bell rings and they go at it.
Yes.
But yes. I mean, and it took a little while to get going, but once it did, it felt like a main event. It felt like the best match of the night, not only because it was, but because you look at these two guys and they were both presented legit. We said the best of the best. That's what this match was, along with the match with the women. Asuka and Sasha, because those two were the best of the best. They were even, and they looked it, and it was like this was anybody's, match. This was anybody could win this thing. Yeah. It wasn't like Lashley and Sami Zayn or Team Raw versus Team SmackDown for the men. This was extremely close. This was good. And a lot of spots you thought, Drew counters the Superman punch. He hits the Glasgow kiss, and then he hits the Future Shock DDT, and you're like, oh my God, is it done? Obviously, no, he's not going to pin Roman with just a signature, but, it was still legit. And, you felt that, and, even the Claymore and stuff, but then the ref took the bump.
His picture, Jean Paul. See, like he never does submission holds.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Everybody pulled out something new. Even like you said with Angelo Dawkins, he hit a couple new moves. Drew pulled out a new move because you had to. This was the best versus the best. You have to pull out the new moves. You have the picture there. Roman puts him through the announce table, spears him through the barricade into the Thunderdome. I mean, this was really good. You can't say that this match was shit. I mean, the only thing I didn't care for was really just the last, I would say, minute and a half of it.
Yeah, because even like you said, Drew McIntyre hits the Claymore, and then Roman Reigns kind of rolls out of the ring, and then there was no referee and all of that. And
yeah, because he hit the ref, and then it was like the ref actually took the bump out.
He was like falling, and then Jey Uso come back, and then he started like in distraction. He did a super kick on Drew, and then that allowed Roman to apply the guillotine. Like a submission hold that he's been using now because at least he doesn't use, he's been listening to Robrick, like Jean Paul will say, and, it's not spear and done. At least now is actually guillotine and done. So,
I mean, the guillotine I like on Drew because, I mean, Roman is big. I think Roman's like 6'3", but Drew's like 6'6" or 6'5". Like Drew's big, so to use the guillotine on a bigger opponent to have to choke him out because he knows, I can't beat this guy with the spear because he actually did kick out of the spear
twice.
So I mean, twice. So I mean, Drew looked legit, and even he had the interference. So this was the match, like we said, Roman's heel. Have Roman not win clean. Have him win. It's like a cheating way. Jay interfere because he was setting up for the Claymore again, and then Jay comes in. So, hey, we never know what would have happened. And it's one of the things where this is a match we need to see again. No interference, and Drew needs to go over. Then you can really tell that story that, now Drew is the guy.
Yes, because Drew passed out. Like you said, you pretty much passed out. So that means you always mention this when we do the reviews, and I really like that. When you passed out, that doesn't mean that you quit. So it's
Yeah,
just
the only thing though is how there's way too many times now. It's again because maybe it's because we watch so many different wrestling promotions. If we'd only stick to one or two, it might not feel like this. But how many matches have we seen recently where a guy goes, "Oh, I didn't quit," or "I didn't submit," "Oh," or like the ref called the match.
oh yeah, like yeah,
Like
we're
Eddie
talking about
Kingston,
like
Drew, like all these guys. It's like,
we're
oh my
talking about Eddie
god.
Kingston here. It's true though. It's true. Like it's like now they use that resource to just make the guy not look bad. Because if you will tap out, what when there were crowds, remember you come out and what do you say? You tap out.
Yeah, well, I feel like they would only do that to. I don't think anybody would do that to Drew because
Yeah.
Drew's legit. But I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's. But I mean, hey, if people watch stuff, it's what did the Undertaker say in the Broken Skull sessions? He's like, it's it's the age of the internet. There's people have access to so much wrestling. Everybody's gonna be like, oh, it's the same shit. It's the guy doesn't pass out, so he can cut a promo next week. Oh, I didn't quit. So then they have another match. But hopefully they don't do another match. Soon with these two guys. I think you got to keep them separated. Be like the Offspring, and make it legit.
Yeah. So like this is the picture that we got because of course like Jay helped Roman, so Roman is like, okay, now you can actually eat. You can actually eat at the table.
Yeah, he's like, you can have the scraps, and he's like,
I feel that like this next time these two like face off, it should be WrestleMania. WrestleMania. Either I don't care if it is champion versus champion or a championship on the line. But like you said, Drew needs to go over because at least like you said, we got the match, and this sets up automatically for another match because of like a screwy finish. Maybe one of the matches needed to have that kind of ending. It was only this one, not every single one of them, because I feel that like every single one of them kind of, unless if it's not for the tag or the like Intercontinental against United States Championship, everyone like had like a screwy finish or like a stupid finish, so to say.
Yeah, well, the only way is you have the Miz with Money in the Bank, you have bullshit going on, you could easily somehow, and it sucks for Drew, but if the plan is you take the title off of Drew, move him over to SmackDown somehow, and he beats Roman at Mania for the Universal title, then I'm fine with it. But if you take the title off him to move him to SmackDown just to lose to Roman at Mania, then absolute bullshit. Then there's no reason.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. So that's
then I'd rather see The Rock beat him, or I'd rather see Big E lose to him.
Yeah, that's true. One of the two. You're right. But like we're going to see Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre 3, because like the ones that everybody forgets is like 2 WrestleManias ago they actually square off with no title on the line, but at least like Jon Paul says, those are the only things that we forget. We don't. Something that like I wish that we were forgotten, it was like the final farewell, because every single wrestling fan that was watching Survivor Series was expecting this, wanted to see this, and they use an awful picture of the Undertaker because you can clearly see he's wearing a wig for that picture. But anyway, this was like long. It was boring. It was actually didn't set up for anything. Like everybody, Jon Paul mentions, like Ryan was saying, oh, the Fiend, maybe he's gonna like choke out the Undertaker. They're gonna set up for WrestleMania. Something needs to happen. They had all these guys, backstage handy to make it sure, like they say, bye to the Undertaker, farewell. None of that. It took way too long. It was 45 minutes based on just entrances. Way too many guys, no role explained for them, no reason why they were there. The only reason was that they were friends with the Undertaker.
They had so many. Yeah, they had everybody come out. Shane McMahon, Shawn White. Yeah, you see everybody in the ring, and that's everybody had an entrance. I mean, they power walked to the ring. They didn't do their normal shtick, take forever to get to the ring, but everybody had their theme song play. Everybody walked down. And it was like, what was the point? Because you see him all in the ring. You see Kane. He was in his gear. I don't know. Maybe he didn't get the memo. Or maybe because you see Kane in his gear, you thought, oh, him and the Undertaker, they're going to do Brothers of Destruction. Maybe they're both going to kneel down and raise their hand, and it's going to be legit. Or they're going to hold the fist up or something. No, because they had all these people in the ring. You thought Taker was going to be there. What happens? They show a little video package. Then boom, the ring's empty, and we see Vince.
Yes. Like that.
So why did you bring all those people down?
You said video package, room clicks up, and then we see Vince. Fuck. Okay, right there.
Yeah, it's like, what did they do? Did they open up a trap door and they all fell down and died? I mean, if you were gonna do this, they should have did something where like when a wrestler would pass away or there'd be some tragedy and they'd just be sitting there in front of a camera and they'd be like, oh, blah blah blah. They say 30 seconds and then done. I'd
Yes.
rather have seen that with Taker and been like, oh, when I came in, JBL says something a couple seconds about Taker. You have Booker T, Big Show, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels. See, they can say a couple things about Taker, boom. That's what you should have done instead of all these video packages, because that's how you do a thank you to someone. What's the thank you here? They came out and they were all like, duh, and then they went away.
Yeah, that pretty much. And like I said, like they're all gonna get trashed. That's what they're gonna do. They're just gonna get trashed. And Vince McMahon said, for 30 years, the Undertaker has been here entertaining fans. The WWF, and the Jean Paul Pop for that. Open the champagne, boop, the old school fans, the WWF, and the WWE fans in the WWE universe. Nowadays, Taker is history and his legacy tonight, but we were gonna say goodbye. But like they said that nothing lasts forever, but they're wrong, because the legacy of the Undertaker will live as long as Raw Break lives, and that means forever. So Jean Paul, boom, and that takes us to and this took pretty much forever. This was felt like 30 years of the Undertaker. That was 30.
Oh yeah, this felt like all 30 years. Yeah,
yes, that meant every minute counted for a year. So it was 30 years of the entrance. I mean, if we kind of joke around for the Undertaker, is with all the respect, we're not trying to do anything bad here, but I'm just saying it took way too long. And we already
if you would have opened it like you said to me, if this would have been okay, the Drew match is over, we see Vince says all that, and then Taker, if that's all it was, you cut out all the other bullshit, then I'm fine with it. But this was just with everything. Yes. It was way too long.
Yeah, way too long, exactly. And and if this is going to be the main event, everybody's falling asleep. We've been saying this, but as long as we've been doing this show, it's way too long. We're all already tired. We're trying to we're about to pass out, because you don't give we're all juiced out from 5 hours of just keep watching and watching and watching. So this was not too great.
Yeah, and Taker came to the ring, and he pretty much just kind of echoed what Vince said. And he's like, it's time for the Undertaker to rest in peace. I mean, it was a good, promo. You could tell, he was emotional a little bit. Not, you couldn't hear it or anything, but just, being down there, oh, this is it. He didn't want to leave. He was really slow walking to the ring, really slow walking, into the ring and everything. But it was good, but that segment, and it was fine. But like we said, just by the time we got here, we just wanted it to be over. Unfortunately, and that's a shame, because this is the Undertaker.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? It's some guy who is oh, who's your favorite? Oh, Taker. He's up there. He's always going to be in everybody's the top 3 favorites of all time for pretty much any wrestling fan. I don't care who you are, but. It's a shame that we got to this point, and it's supposed to be this farewell, and we wanted it to be good. We wanted to see something. Yeah, that was legit. How they did the picture, the hologram thing and stuff. I mean, like I said, this whole segment there and everything with the Undertaker was good, but when I have to wait and go through piles of bullshit, I thought I was watching back to back episodes of SmackDown. It was so much bullshit. But
it was really long to watch. It was to take me there, you went through so many avenues. So by the time that I got there, I didn't want to be there. So that's how when you actually get lost in in the road, and then you don't know how to get there, and then you just take forever. But when you get there, you just want to be there anymore. That's kind of what it was. But like you said, there's nothing more that needs to be said about the Undertaker. The Undertaker pretty much translates professional wrestling, and that's what it is. So we're not gonna even spend more time talking about this. It was just too long. This is beautiful though, because Paul Bearer without the Undertaker, the Undertaker would have never been what it is.
Yeah, and the one thing then before we close this, what do you think? Are you happy that it was just he came out, he said his little thing, he did a send off, he walked to the back, raised a fist and done? Or did you want to see maybe one last feud, or at least a hint of a feud or something?
What I do, if you mentioned to me, I think that for the crowd, when there's crowds, when there's people, when finally we can actually be normal with the way we used to be, he'll come out, he'll do something,
But don't you think you should have hinted at it now? Because it's oh, it's the farewell, and you hint at it because oh, when there is crowd, we are going to want to do something. So you could have hinted at it. You could have did something, I don't know.
But I don't know, or maybe Jean Paul, maybe he's done. Meaning, I don't want to do anything anymore. I'm done. Even you saw the Rock and Skull sessions more than he's saying, I'm Mark Calloway then. I don't want to be the Undertaker anymore. Maybe he just has no interest in it, and it's fine because he should have done this. It sucks to say, but like he doesn't live in his prime. He just leaves, like after so many farewells, it's just like overly done. Like you and me cried when when Roman beat him. And that's when he left the hat and all of that. But no, they didn't want him to go because the Undertaker is the best gimmick that they have. Right now, it just feels like, yeah, okay. We already cried for this dead body for years. So, I mean, do I want to see him again? Probably, and we will see him again. Maybe not in a match, but maybe, a chokeslam, maybe like a tombstone. That's all it is. But if he doesn't want to do it, I'm fine with it. Because we don't need the Undertaker anymore. We don't. No. It's just you keep prolonging the inevitable. So that's what, and he said.
No, and the thing, like you said, he's not in his prime anymore. So when you bring him back, it's for a cheap pop. Yeah. As you bring him back or let's sell some T-shirts, let's sell an action figure, let's do something like that because he's not in his prime that you can bring him back and hey, can we have you for 7 months for this like long legit feud? No, because he can't do it, and I mean he deserves to have this, like you said, for the Undertaker, for that character to rest in peace, yes. So then the man Mark Calloway can enjoy the rest of his life.
Exactly. So, or they do it like, see, for example, he leaves right there. That's how the show closes. They leave it so this Mark can, buy a little more merch because he's a dumbass. Yeah, and buys like the.
He should have waited for the buy one shirt, get one for $1 sale that they're doing.
But of course, because he was looking at me like this, I had to do it. So it's all good, no pun intended. But yeah, that was the end. I mean, the party is probably happening right now.
Ric Flair's getting all sauced up.
They're already trashed. They're already done. See, yeah, so it's also good. So, a pretty disappointing Survivor Series, Paul. That's how we can summarize it, Cool for The Undertaker. I mean, 30 days. Like, the shows have been, documentaries have been good. Like you said, the Mortician is good. The Untold with Randy Orton was really great. The Broken Skull Sessions came out today. 2 hours. John Paul has already been watching, religiously every single minute, every single thing, because we have something special for you guys planned. But, this didn't deliver either because, like you said, way too long. If we would have just got this 10 minutes, fine. But we didn't need 40 minutes of just like, no. We didn't need this.
Yeah.
All right? Neither one of them.
I mean, like I said, look at Kane's in his gimmick. Why wasn't he out there with Taker, with Paul Bearer? And they both, it didn't make any sense. But to sum up, sum up Survivor Series, besides the main event, and the match with Asuka and Sasha, like we see, look, the pictures we have up top there, because we know, besides that, those two matches, this pay-per-view suffered immensely from the lack of seriousness.
Yes, and that's how we can summarize. I'm going to leave with that thought. Lack of seriousness. So Robert Family...
That'll be the title. Lack of seriousness, kill the Survivor Series. Lack of seriousness. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it will be something like that. Yeah. So, Great Family, thank you so very much for all the love and support that you give us. In every single one of the social media that John Paul is about to mention to you. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, for every notification. We have more content coming up this week. We have more interviews. We're like the WWE Network. We always have specials for you guys. So just get ready and enjoy the ride. Jean Paul,
exactly, and you can find out, everything Rope Break's releasing by following us on Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and like Juan said, click the bell, click subscribe right here on the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break,
and everywhere, So, family, Jean Paul, thank you so very much for a great year. Better things coming to Rope Break, You and I are the witnesses and the creators of all of this. So, one more thing that is left to say. Tell me what it is.